Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US indices Elliott Wave counts for the SP500 and the NASDAQ. And we're going on track here in this nice trend channel to the upside from wave 3 here, an A and a B and a C and a D and an E here for an Elliott Wave triangle pattern, and wave 4, and we're looking higher for wave 5 as such here. Now, between intermediate wave 4 and 5 here, we're looking for 5 waves of minor degree of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then 5. So we're in the third wave of the minor degree, and we're looking for 5 waves of minute here, minute, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So in this third wave here, we're also looking for 5 waves here. So from wave 2 here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then wave 5 up here. We've still got a little bit to go here. We're looking for 5 waves in this structure here, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then up for 5 here. So a little bit higher. I have to say this particular little pattern all of this has been really messy all in through here, and it's been a bit of a guessing game for me. But we've just been using the levels, the trading levels, to help us through with this a little bit, and also some of the Elliott Wave patterns. Oops, I'll just go to the 4-hour chart first. So with the 4-hour chart here, it's possible that we've got, this is why I need to discuss it. It's just, the wave structures have been, they've been fine. You know, we've been getting 3 waves to the downside and 5 waves to the upside, but it's very, it's just very messy and unclear. So from wave 3 to 4 here, that's fine. We can have wave 5 of 3 in place here. I don't think it's the case, but then we need to look at this as an A wave and then a B wave into here as 3 waves here. So an A and a B and a C here, and then an A and a B and a C here. If that's the case, then I wouldn't expect this to move all the way down here, because this is in 3 waves here, the A waves in 3 waves. It really makes the correction part of the flat family correction. So there's the regular flat, there's the irregular flat or the expanded flat, and the running flat. So there's a bit of a group of them in there, but so it may not pull all the way back down to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. I mean, if it was, then this would be wave 1 and then back for wave 2, and then it'll be down for wave 3, 4 and 5 down here. So we'll see. On the upside here, I've still got these 2 here are the same here. So in this case, we'd be looking for this to be labeled differently through here, but to push up higher through here, taking out this high here. Now I know that this pattern here is actually corrective. So what that means, at some point that top's going to be taken out. That's the good news. That's something that I do know. So it might be from here, and it may be from here. If it's going to be from here, then we need to be ready for it. So taking out this high would have been the first step, then taking out this high would have been the second step, and now we can go down to this high here. So also too, with the trading levels, we can look at the closest largest number is the 2900 here. It came up and it reacted, and finally it's found that it's migrated from resistance to support here, hasn't it? So when it leaves this number here, we use the number 3 here, the 2930 in this case, the top of group 1. Group 1 is 1, 2 and 3, 10, 20 and 30. If we get a tested support on top of 30 here, the number 3, then we know that we're going to be pushing up to the 5 at that point. So we'll know that we're on our way. What getting support here means is that it separates the market being pulled to the 2900, and people start to look up at the 2950 at this stage. So that's what the number 3 does. It's a line in the sand, but you have to recognize what support is. And in that case, like, just being above it is not support. Coming back and retesting the demand is part of the supporting process, and there's no demand here, so it dropped and found it as resistance. And the same thing here as well. So we'd need to see that over here. But Yeah, so support on here. So we're going to go long on this point here, okay? Otherwise, you could go short below here as well if you wanted to, but you're sort of fighting the trend at that point there. So just on the hourly chart here, this is just another, there's two ways to label wave 4 here. So the first one is an A and a B and a C wave here, and that's fine. The other way to label this here too is having, I might just copy these actually, is actually having, this is the A wave here, an A and a B and a C for the B wave here, and then this here, I can't work out if it's 3 waves or 5 waves, so it's possible to have wave 4 here, and that would be the whole flat correction, and then that would be wave 1 here and wave 2 pulling back here. So that's another way to label it. But at the end of the day, what we're going to do, because I'm not getting any special leads off the NASDAQ either, so we're in the same boat with the NASDAQ. So we need to use the levels and trading new highs. We need to trade what we see. We need to, getting support on 29.30 creates the long trade. In fact, just taking out the top here would create the long trade. So we've already got a long trade in here. You may have taken profit here, I don't know, but if not, we had the stop under here, and then I can move it, instead of moving it to here, I can move it here, which is below the 61.8% mark here. So we'll be carrying a small loss at this point, but at least we've halved that loss, which is good. The other good news here too, this move down through here has covered this gap here. So that's always a nice sign to me that once the gap's been covered, then the market can carry on and do what it's doing. It's like over here was a gap here, so it covered it here or covered it here, and depending on the cash market as well. So it's doing nice work in its own way. So let's just see. Like I said, and I think I would have said this before too, if the 29.20 became the retested resistance, not a spike down, but a retested resistance, so that would have left this low here as the trigger point here. So the same thing can be applied here as well. If the 29.20 becomes a retested resistance, then we can short it at that point too. Okay, so for the NASDAQ, unfortunately, it's in the same boat, really, in terms of, well, in two points here, it's in the same bigger trend. We've got this triangle wave 4, and we're moving higher here. We've had problems with wave 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 overlapping here, but I've kind of stayed with it for the time being. It may be a running flat correction in terms of an A and a B and a C wave into all of this. I'm not quite sure. But we've been doing all the right things and trading to the upside. Now, one of the important things here at the trading level, so from 7,000, we've got a medium level here at 6,500, because that's halfway between 8,000 and 5,000. The halfway mark here, 650. And it always plays out nicely, and same within stocks as well at $6.50 or 65 cents. Anyway, the levels to the upside, we've got 1, 2, and 3, and then we've got 5. So as soon as we had 5 as the support here, 5 is being the second strongest number, it was resistance here, and then it became support. So we need to be on the long side. We'd only be on the short side if 500 was the resistance. And we never got that, so we've been on the right side at the right time. But all of this here has been just a bit messy for me, and also too, this wave 4 here can also be over here on this one as well here. The same as what we had a look at the alternative count. We then would leave that up for wave 1, and then this could come back 50 or 60% at that point. So there's a few things that are going on here that I just don't understand. That's the best way to put it. So 4 hours, let's just go in and see what we do, what I know. So like I said, all this is really messy in here, and I can put this wave 4 here. I can put it over here as well in this instance here. It's a valid thing. If you've got that, then that's fine. And then that would leave most of this up for wave 1. So it would be important, if that was the case here, then that could pull back down into this 50-60% area here. So we're long here as well. So I've lifted the stop up under this point here, so which is just under the 600 area through here. This here can, we'll have a look at that in due course. But what I wanted to point out here while we're here is that we do have support on the 500 here. So that's why we've been on the long side of things. Now, the Fibonacci numbers, as you know, are 1, 2, 3, 5 and 8. So we come up the side here from 7,000, 100, 200, 300, 500 and 800. They're our levels. If we get support on here, then we look at this number here as our target. But I always know, like the medium level at 6,500, this one here comes in, it's halfway between 8 and 5. In this case, it's 7,650. So obviously we can see it here, and yes, it will play up here as well. But we know about these numbers before this occurs, so we would have talked about that over here. Now, the thing here is that we want to find, to be long here, we want to find that 650, 650 as support. So all I can say here is that I don't really understand the wave count here. It's just too messy to really pin down. So when I don't know what the wave count is, I just go back to simplicity, which is support and resistance, which is the levels, the trading levels. So I know that we're on the right side of the market, being long on the 500 area through here. And the halfway mark between these guys is the 650 here, so we want that as support. Obviously they're old highs as well, so yeah, we want to buy new highs in this case. So if this is triggered here, or if you can see support here, then we can go long from that particular point here. So we've tightened up the stop, we've got an entry here. We could go short, but I find that would be going short against the trend. It's also possible that like the S&P 500, we can have this, if I can just copy this here as well. I mean, we need to, this is what the video is for, is to discuss things. We've got our charts on the website as well, which are updated every day. So this here can be the A wave here, a B wave here, and then a C wave down here. I don't think it's the case, right? But it's possible. But even so, I don't have enough evidence for that, and we can't really trade to that point. So, I mean, even from this area here, the 7550 here, for instance, is the 61.8% mark here. So you could only short this here if the 600 became the resistance. And if you shorted that, you could only go down to you've only got 50 points here before you get a bounce back up. And it could bounce quite strongly back up. So there is 50 points in here if it's there for the taking. Otherwise, it would move back up from that point. So just be mindful of that. If this was going to turn bearish, then this would be wave 1 and 2 here. And then wave 3 would come down 4 and 5. So look, 7,650, we're long, as simple as that. So the hourly chart's not really going to give us much more clearance here. So this move up here can be wave 1 and back for wave 2 here. If that's not the case and we do make a new low here, then we have to be mindful of just making a new low here and then moving up as an A wave, a B wave and a C wave here, and having this here as wave 4 here. So I don't know, but the main thing is if this market's going to move up, you want support on 7,650 and you can be long from that point. I've got that high here. You could actually bring that down into these highs here, but the way that it would work is the market would move up, it would react from there, then it would push up a bit higher and give you that first high above the level, and then any ABC correction from that point would be up from that point there. So yeah, we use that top first, then this top, and we can use that top, or we can use that top that comes into play here for that next move up. So look, sorry, not a lot of answers today, but at least we put a few strategies into place. So I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.